So I'm excited, man. I played a lot of this game when it first came out in early access. So I'm very excited to see what happens here. Because I definitely want to see what's going on. I want to see what's been updated. We love Force Gaming. He creates great content. Already sub to his channel. Give it a like, give it a sub. It's a great content creator. We haven't seen this video yet, but we will right now, and let's see what the updates are. Now my biggest issue with vrising was like the grindiness for building. Just took so long to like get enough wood or whatever to make walls. Very annoying part. And very very annoyed at the fact that when a server that you were on died, it felt just very lonely. So there's like no way to transfer your character on the server. It looked like, at least at the time, things like that. That was a big drag. That was a big drag. So a couple of like issues with that. Not a huge fan of how little customization there was in the game, but this is all the way back in the early access. So hopefully they've improved some of these things. Also, the sunlight mechanic, while cool, was kind of annoying to deal with. So, and enemy variety was a big issue as well. But overall, I was very positive on the game. Like I gave it like a solid 8, I think, out of 10. And it was a lot of fun. So let's check it out. Thank you for the welcome backs, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying your night. Let's
When
see.
vrising first entered early access back in May 2022, I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah,
It took the
same
standard
here.
formula of open world survival crafting and added
The auto
two
was messed
things
up.
I
Yeah, there we
didn't
go.
know I wanted: vampires and MOBA-inspired skill-based action combat. The
Right.
vampire theming wasn't just cosmetic, but seen in many of
Dude, I tell you, one of my favorite parts of this game was being on a PvP server and being able to take on people with like 3 grades of gear or ish above me, 2 or 3 grades of gear. Like they were using iron, I was using copper, things like that, and just being able to beat them. It was so fun. I was like, man, I'm like, I felt like a MOBA god because I play a lot of League of Legends, and having those skills translate so well, it felt really, really, really good. It honestly did. It felt good. The being able to have a high skill cap and being able to, figure out how to dodge attacks, chase people around. It felt like an open world, like kind of version of League of Legends, and I thought that was huge. That was my
game
favorite part.
systems. You could shapeshift into various creatures, like a wolf for increased move speed, or a rat to blend into the environment. You were required to suck blood on a regular
Yeah.
basis, almost working like a
That was
thirst
pretty cool.
meter, but
Yeah.
depending on the creatures you took it from would be granted different buffs. Direct exposure to sunlight for too long, it caused you to burst into flames. You slept in a coffin inside your very own vampire castle, and
Yep.
instead of having basic
Really good theming for all of these things. The theming of this game, it really felt like you were a vampire, and it really felt like you were doing vampire-y things. Extremely cliche, but in a very good way.
elemental magic resistances. The game had resistances for sun, fire, garlic, holy, and silver.
Right,
all
yeah.
things vampires are known to be averse to. And
Smurfs,
as shown
welcome.
in those examples, so much of the world, the creatures you fought, the locations you'd visit, the
Right.
items and flavor of it all pulled clear inspiration from various bits of vampire folklore and media from over the years. Also, on top of all of that, combat was fantastic.
It was.
The game
It was very
developed by
smooth.
Stunlock Studios, whose prior titles,
Very smooth.
Bloodline Champions and Battle Right, both featured skill-based PvP-centric action gameplay. For both of those games, combat was
I had no idea it was the maker of this game. Holy smokes. That's why the combat is so good. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. That makes a lot more sense now.
at the forefront and was very good. With vrising, they took that foundation, fine-tuned, improved it, and put it in a multiplayer open world which may or may not have PvP depending on how you choose to play or
PvP
what
is so
server you
good.
select
Oh my
when you
God.
play the game. All of that, combined with the survival elements, the gathering, crafting, base building, exploration, and progression tied to boss hunting, made for a package I found very entertaining. Like I said, I really liked vrising at the time. But the game wasn't finished. When I first played in May 2022, early access had just begun, and we were told to expect—
It was clearly early access, but the updates went pretty slowly. It came out in it was every few months there was no news. And then after a few months, there was a deluge. It was a lot of updates. and then went back to like nothing for the next several months. So it was like a very weird content cadence. It felt like to me, and it was not really like easy to keep up with, because you just want to play for like a week straight and then just not play for like 5 months or something. And it's not a way to play a game, man. It's really not. And so it was kind of like it lost interest a lot for a lot of people, including me. And but like the game itself, very good bones, but definitely unfinished. The fact that it was so unfinished was a huge holdback. But very, very glad that this is, the 1.0 is coming out. This is what I was waiting for.
Some time before everything was all done. So after I had my fun with it, I put the game down for another day. Well, that time is today. vrising is officially launching its 1.0 version on May the 8th. The game has come a long way, receiving numerous updates over these past...
Holy crap, that's tomorrow. That's insane. Okay, all right, I didn't realize it was coming out tomorrow. Jesus.
Years, much of which we'll be taking a look at here today. Stonelock Studios is sponsoring this video. They gave me a special early look at the final version of the game, and with that, I've spent the past week playing through everything, seeing all of the content, the improvements, the additions that have come. So let's take a look at vrising.
The barrel mechanics being added to a boss fight is really cool. They needed more of that. There was a few fights when I played vrising where they had like these small little gimmicks that would affect the battlefield. Like one of the bosses was in a mine and things like that. That was really cool. That was like that was where vrising was really shining. And there was a lot of repetition as well. So that was the downside. But with the very unique fights, the ones that felt unique, the ones that were in unique areas, unique mechanics, that was good. We needed more of that. I hope there's more of that. That was where this game was truly amazing.
vrising 1.0. If you've not played vrising before, I'd like to give you a basic overview of how it's all structured.
Okay.
So what sort of a game is this? Well, open world, multiplayer, survival crafting, skill-based action combat, boss hunts, and PvP should
a
you
lot
choose.
Of stuff.
Those are all the buckets that I think vrising fits nicely into. But let's do an overview of the gameplay loop and progression through the game. What's it going to be like playing vrising? So you start in typical survival game fashion with nothing, but this time with the vampire twist, you wake up arising from a coffin inside of a crypt. You then move into a graveyard, clearing skeletons and ghouls, opening tombs, and smashing urns as you collect resources to craft the first basic tier of weapons, tools, and armor. Heading into a nearby forest, you're then asked to hunt the living. At this point, that's gonna mean deer, wolves, and the occasional...
Well, one of the downsides to the game was when you would get, first of all, it was really rare to find like high tier blood, where it was like, it was showing the different tiers. Like tier 1, it'll give you like 10% damage. And then tier 2, it'll give you like minor regeneration, which is actually super important. And then like tier 3 and 4 were like super good. It would give you like 5 stats. And the chances you find those like tier 4 abilities are really, really, really low. And at some point you would have to, and it was not a long point. You would only be able to have, when you were lucky enough to find the high tier blood, you could only have them for a very short period of time. And I'm talking about like, it felt like it was only a few minutes at most. And that was it. And it was like, dude, man, give this for a little bit longer. Like, I hated how fast you would run out of like the high tier skills, the high tier blood and stuff. Because not all of your power, but like a giant chunk of your power was based on that. And it was a very RNG heavy. It was very, very RNG heavy. So if they toned that down, made that a little bit more even, I really hope that would be like a huge thing. And this is where it showed you the tier with blood. So there's like a creature, it's tier 1 blood, 3%. So it's very, very little. It's borderline useless. So a lot of the things that you were killing, it felt borderline useless to have them there.
Unlucky bandits. And beyond killing them for their drops, you're also in search of blood. Every living creature and NPC in the game can be drained, filling up your blood a thirst meter like equivalent, and also granting a buff. So there are numerous blood types, each come with their own perks. One of my favorite...
Hold on, let's show the tier so I can show you an example.
A buff. So there are numerous blood.
So like at the beginning, it's like 3% movement speed, just nothing. And then like later on, it's like damage reduction, health regeneration, boosts everything by 25%. Like it was crazy. And the amount of people you would find of the tier 1 was like 60%. The tier 2 would be like 20%. Tier 3 would be like 10. Then 5 and like 1. It was just so bottom heavy.
pipes, each come with their own perks. One of my favorite, Brute, grants you basic attack life leech, increased attack speed, and healing receipt.
Absolutely. One of my favorite as well, because you are just straight up like being like the melee monstrosity vampire. This was one of my favorite as well. It was so huge. It was so huge.
Movement speed and attack damage. These bonuses are divided into 5 tiers depending on the quality of the blood you
welcome,
drain,
Michael.
which is represented by a percentage value. The stronger the blood, the higher the tier you unlock, and the better those bonuses are. So you're in the forest, you're fighting, you're sucking blood, you're collecting drops, you're chopping trees and smashing rocks. Eventually, you'll collect enough resources to construct your first base. Picking from any of the numerous plots
you saw the video today?
all
Nice.
around the map,
We're watching it
you
now.
will first claim a territory, which is done by placing down a castle heart. Once that's up, you fill it with blood, which acts like an upkeep timer. After that, you'll start placing foundations and walls and the starter crafting stations.
The building was very intuitive, and it was like it kind of felt a little bit like kind of like Legos in a lot of ways, which is really cool. Like I really liked how they implemented the building in here. Now, what I wish they would do a like a lot of the other games have had recently, like Enshrouded and Pal World and stuff. I really hope that they have like the template system where it has the blueprints and you put the blueprints on the ground and you can like template all your walls and everything, and it'll tell you exactly how much the total lumber or total this, total that you need, and then you can just like gather it up and already have everything planned out. Because the way they did that in those other survival games, oh my god, I feel like it's a misstep for any survival game to not have those. It is so huge. And the other thing I really hope that they have, and I don't know if they're going to have this in this game, is very few survival games have this. But the ones that do, it feels so good. And the ones that don't, it feels like it's such a missed opportunity. Where all of the treasure chests will be linked. So anytime you have a treasure chest and it has like 30 lumber in it, it'll act like it has 30 lumber in your pockets. And Nightingale had the templates thing. Yeah, the template thing for Nightingale was amazing. But Nightingale did not have linked chests. And they said that they were going to add it, but they still haven't added it yet, and it's been, months. So I think every survival game should have templates for the building and have the linked chests, because having to drop down and pick up random things from every single chest that you have is so annoying. Oh my god. So when you run into a game that has it already implemented, like Pal World, for example, it just feels so much more usable. It just feels so good. Oh my god, I love it. And I really do you know if that has this? I hope that's in this game. I think every single survival game needs it. Every single one of them.
Of a sawmill and simple workbench. And then with that foundation, you can now make the next level of gear and weapons, but you're probably going to need some more materials in order to do that. So heading back out into the wilderness, exploring the surrounding area, you're going to come across all sorts of locations in the forest. You'll see bandit encampments, cemeteries, logging camps, wolf and bear dens, copper mines and quarries, various points of interest in which you will find plenty of enemies.
Now, this did suffer from the other issue that a lot of ARPGs suffer from, where really good ARPGs, which are, very few and far between that do this, it doesn't matter if you have, I guess, like tier 1 gear or like tier 10 gear, and it'll still at least be possible, and it won't feel like it's borderline completely freaking impossible to beat a tough enemy. And I think it's very important when it's a single-player ARPG and, like, single-player PvE style focus, which most of this game is. There's PvP in it, but it's not the focus of it. But this game, and like many other ARPGs, have the flaw of, if you have lower-tier gear, it feels like you're bashing your head against the wall to fight, like, the Treant, for example. The Treant was, like, a big thing, where the Treant had, like, an astronomical amount of health, extremely simple attacks, so it was super easy to dodge and everything. And you felt like, man, if I'm just able to fight this, I'd be really happy. And you're just not able to. So it's like one of the best things about Dark Souls is you could beat the entire Dark Souls game at soul level 1 with like a broken short sword. And you could do it if you were good enough. You could outskill it. And this is like a very actiony feel. And so when it feels like you're locked out of fighting enemies just because of like a gear tier that you have to grind out for like 10 hours for no reason, it just felt useless. So I hope they fix that. That was definitely a big gripe for me. Absolutely.
To fight a variety of enemy types, creatures, NPCs from different factions, filling different roles, a lot of the standard sort of RPG archetypes with melee and range and casters, and then thematically you'll have different variations of all of these. And also you're going to be finding items and resources. In fact, every location in the game will have a specific
there's a lot of resources
to drop, and you can actually see that by mousing over it on the map. And it also makes the
gear tiers are really quick to farm in vrising now when you know what you're after. Wise Noob, that's good. That's good news. I hope that means that they shortened the grinding times, because I played for like a solid 50 odd hours at the very beginning of early access when it first launched. I grinded that shit out for like 3 weeks straight. Enjoyed it thoroughly, but these were definitely some gripes that I had. And so if they really made that better, that is a big W. I was hoping for that. That's a huge W. And welcome, buddy. If you enjoy the good vibes, drop a follow. Welcome to the Quarry Crew, my friend. I'm very excited for the launch of this game.
Logical sense. So like you'll get grave dust and bones from the cemeteries, you'll get extra leather and hide from trapper camps, and ore and ingots will of course be in higher abundance when you're in mines and quarries. Like many survival crafting games, much of the gameplay loop consists of this back and forth. You leave your base, you fight enemies, you gather items. This lets you continue building up your base, placing down new crafting stations, making gear and consumables, making yourself stronger, and then heading out again. But at the same time, while you're doing this whole loop, you will also be tracking down the game's various bosses. As of this,
the bosses were
build,
cool.
There are currently 57
the bosses were really cool
in the game. These start out pretty.
Wow, they added a bunch, man. I remember when it was like 18 bosses at the beginning of early access. 57 now. That's good. That's a lot of people to kill. That's a lot of blood to suck. That's good. I like that. That's huge.
Simple. Avoid the basic attack. Dodge the lunge.
They added a lot.
Don't stand in the fire. But over time, boss fights get way more varied and complex. Especially towards the mid to late game, you're going to be dealing with some proper challenging encounters and interesting mechanics.
Did not play Gloomrot.
The bosses themselves, the variety of spells you have at your disposal, and the fact that you can swap between weapons on the fly, these fights have been real fun and engaging experiences. I mean, just as is, I think the combat in this game is fantastic.
Yeah, combat
probably comes as no surprise, given the main focus in both of their prior games was fighting. So in vrising,
they just know what they're doing.
Groups of enemies, small groups, or even one or two, it's a good time. In fact, half of the time I would be out roaming the road towards some objective, like heading towards a boss fight, looking to farm some resource, but I would end up dismounting en route if I saw any enemies, just so I could get some more fighting in, because I just find it that enjoyable. Combat just feels good in this game. But beyond being a good time, killing a boss in particular grants access to many progression-related unlocks, stuff like new travel forms, new crafting and refining stations, new weapons and armor types, and a majority, I would say at least 90% of the bosses also grant a spell point for one of the game's 6 schools of magic.
Oh, that's huge.
So outside of the weapons that you use...
Wise Noob, thank you for the follow, my friend. Welcome to the Quarry Crew. In order to join the giveaway, type into chat !join, and make sure you hop in our Discord as well, because the giveaway is given via Discord DM. And also, what kind of other games do you like to play, watch, and enjoy? Let us know. We play everything.
Which each have their own attack patterns, capabilities, and their own abilities as well, like actual skills tied to the weapons. You also have 4 active slots to fill with spells. You'll select from skills of the various magic.
This is very good, because one of the downsides of the game, at least super early access, was spells felt kind of not great. Like they felt okay, but they definitely felt very, very limited. So if they made spells more varied, and if they added like it as essentially another progression type of deal, this is very good. This is a very good change that I wanted all the way back so much earlier. Because the spells looked cool, but there just weren't many of them. There was like a total of 8 skills or something, and that was it. And that was like super it. But now it looks like each school now gives you a passive. And you have a bunch of spells of this looks like some movement spells. You got some attack ones. We got a lot of stuff. We got some extra stuff here. This is good. This is a good amount of progression. This makes me very happy. This is a good
schools
thing.
that include Blood, Chaos, Unholy, Illusion, Frost, and Storm.
Hold on. I kind of want to see. He went through them real fast.
Patterns, capabilities, and their own abilities as well, like actual skills tied to the weapons. You also have 4 active slots to fill.
We'll go slowly. We'll go through each tree.
Spells. You'll select from skills of the various magic schools that include Blood,
Chaos, igniting, chaos flames, damage over time, explosions, and that kind of like just chaining explosion. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's awesome. Just before Gloomrot, there was 5 or 6 schools, but unlocked in order. Now they're openable per choice. Exactly. Yes, that was a big problem. Existential. You had to unlock one tier of spells or one type of spell, and then the other type, and then the other type, and then the other type. And it felt like the early type of spells were just useless because it just felt like you were, different orders. The fact that you can unlock them in any order now is a big good thing. Gem system, yeah, gem system is totally new. I don't know anything about the gem system. This is good.
It's Unholy.
Unholy is condemning, damage dealt to them, so it's just a damage boost. And summoning. Oh, cool. Okay, so they added like necromancy. I like it. That's really cool. That's really, really, really cool. Okay.
Illusion, Frost.
Illusion is weakening, so makes you tankier. Gain Phantasm. Phantasm reduces spell cooldowns and grants chance to reset. So this would be like you're going like just straight up like a majorly spell casty school where you want to focus more on spells as opposed to auto attacks. I'll probably be going blood magic, guys. Blood is, leech and damage. That's kind of my jam. I like going melee. I like going hard with those. Can you mix and match well? Are you like locked into one school, or are you able to mix and match easier? Getting the Princess printing press was horribly late in the game. Practically useless. Now you get it a lot faster. Yeah, so that means they ironed out like when things were unlocked. Yeah, that was a big problem. You can mix and match better? Hell yeah. Will I play on a full loot server? Is that the PvP stuff? If so, yes. I don't know what the terms are. Because way back, Exotaken, I played this game for like 50 hours plus, but all the way back at the beginning of early access. So it was all a while ago. It was a while ago. But yeah, dude, I will absolutely play on a PvP server. PvPing in this game, full loot. You drop your shit when you die. It was so fun. Like, I loved it so much. And I definitely will be playing on one of those servers again. 100%. 100%.
And Storm.
Okay, Frost. Chill your enemies, slowing movement speed. Freezes your enemies solid. I guess that's another debuff. Making them unable to move or act. Deals extra magic damage and inflicts chill. And staggers the target for 1 second if the target is immune to freeze. Okay, so it's good against bosses. Yeah, they didn't have that in the game. So chill was useless against pretty much all bosses that were frost immune, which was most bosses. So that's good that they added that.
School has their own.
And Storm electrifies your target for 5 seconds, causing physical damage to trigger a shock that deals extra magic damage. Triggering a chain lightning effect, traveling towards the nearest enemy, dealing 50% magic damage, inflicting static and bouncing up to 2 times. That's cool. Oh, that's really cool. Dude, that sounds badass. All right, I like that. Chain lightning is cool. Yeah, that sounds dope.
A total of 8 skills for you to unlock.
Yeah.
And you get those skills by tracking down and killing the bosses. So some bosses will be found in set locations, inhabiting
Good dodge.
a particular
Clean
point
dodge.
of interest. Others will roam around. In fact, on many occasions, we will have come across bosses accidentally while out in
that
the
happened to me all the
wilderness,
time. It was a
clearing
good
camps
feeling.
or farming for materials. Sometimes these random encounters work out well. We kill the boss and we get the rewards. Other times, not so much, and we're taken by surprise.
Skill gain
and they
from Guild Wars
absolutely
1?
smash us,
Is
especially
it?
if they outpower us, basically, in their gear
I never
level.
played Guild
But
Wars
once
1.
you're within a certain gear score range, you can actually track down specific bosses. Pulling up what's called the V-Blood menu will
Right.
give you a list of every boss in the game.
The
and
venereal
shows you
blood
which
level.
ones you can currently track. Now, tracking a boss will show you its general location relative to where you are. So
Right.
it'll say, for example, the boss is east of you, very far away. And then as you move closer, heading east, it'll adjust the distance and direction. On top of that, there is also this scent trail of sorts that will pop up every 10 seconds, pointing you
I like
to
the
their
big
location in relation
execute
to
thing where he
are
jumps in the
standing.
air.
You can also see on this menu the rewards each boss unlocks. So for the most part, these will also be thematically tied. So for example, one of the first bosses you'll track down is Keely the Frost Archer. The rewards for killing her, one.
I don't think this had the reward structure here. That's cool. I like that. On a specific skill, you have to hunt down a boss and learn a skill. Yeah. Yeah, if that's what it was, Michael, that's exactly how it works here, yeah.
Frost spell point and unlocked access to the tannery, leather, traveler's wrap, and empty water skin, which all kind of makes sense if you're killing a frost archer. You're getting a frost point and you're getting like archery leather equivalent progression unlocks.
Oh,
right?
they
so
removed
while
that.
You're playing
Okay.
and you're gearing up and you're doing the farming, gathering, crafting, and you're building up your base, you also want to regularly check what bosses are near your item level.
So what you're saying is Existential and Wise, that they basically made it so instead of having to get a certain skill from a high tier boss and you're not able to do that spell at all until late game, which is what was the case when I played it, you could now basically put the skill point anywhere at any point, and you just gain the skill points by killing the bosses. I like that. That's just more versatility. It's more actually what's it called? Customizable, more customizable. So yeah, that's actually a good thing. I actually like that change. That's a W change.
And then depending on the rewards that you're after, you will pick a boss to track down
Yeah.
and hunt. So maybe early on you decide you really want to get a boost to your spell power ring.
Your control,
and you want
yeah.
an unholy point so you can start trying out a summoner build, in which case you will end up tracking Goreswine the Ravager, which was the case for me. Like, I wanted to try this summon skeleton builds. I wanted a better spell power ring, so Goreswine was one of my early choices.
But now he doesn't need to do that first part. Yeah.
When it came to what bosses am I hunting towards next. But yeah, that's kind of the whole process, really. As mentioned, there are 57 bosses in this 1.0 build, and tracking and killing them really makes up the main overall arc of progression through the game, with the exploration, the camp clearing, and all the survival crafting stuff kind of supporting and propping up that arc. But yes, your goal ultimately is to work your way up to the final boss, which you do by starting at the bottom, moving up the chain, killing bosses.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
As a result, thanks to you learning new skills and unlocking the ability to make better gear. In fact, the bosses are even sectioned into different acts that represent your progression through the game, which should look something like this. You start off, like I said, with nothing inside of the graveyard. You can make your basic and starter gear. You then go do your base, you track down and kill the first few bosses. This unlocks the next new tier of weapons, gear, and base stuff. You build what you can, you go out, you farm for resources for the rest, you come back, you craft your new set of gear, plus any weapons that you might want to use.
Wise noob, are treasure chests linked for all of your items to build things and stuff? If so, that would be a huge W. If not, I mean, it's not like it's not a game breaker. It never was at the beginning, but if that's something that they fix, man, oh my god, I'll be so happy. Oh my god, I'll be so happy.
Instead of, like, you don't have to make all the weapons, you just make the weapons you like actively using, right? That's all you have to farm for. And then now that you're powered up, your item level is increased, you have better and stronger gear, you head back.
Wait, they've officially decided not to link them? Why? Like, I don't mind if they couldn't figure out how to do it, but they decided not to. That's worrying. Why did they decide not to? Oh my god.
Out to hunt the next couple of bosses, unlocking more new stuff for you to work towards, along with new abilities for you to try. And you do this loop as you move through the acts, clearing the bosses, and then traveling into the additional zones in the game. So Act 1 has 15 bosses in it, and those are scattered out through the starting region of Fairbane Woods. And this is the foresty area. Like I said, it's full of wildlife.
Oh, that's near the corpse pile? That's cool.
There's bandits and bandit camps, and there's a ton of cemeteries. enemies, a few mines and quarries and things like that. And then as you go to the final boss, you'll eventually move into Act 2. Although it's not restricted, nothing's stopping you from going into the other acts other than the fact that the enemies there will be stronger than you and they won't take as much damage, they will kill you much faster. So you're sort of restricted in that there is a clear power ladder for you to climb. And if you're not at the point to go into those areas, those enemies are just going to be way too daunting of a task. But yes, you start in Act 1, you work your way up. As you go to Act 2, this is going to move you towards the region of Dunley Farmlands. This is made up, as expected by the name, of farms of various crop types, and a lot of this will play into the crafting as well. There's also tons of militia camps. You'll see start to see large NPC villages and towns. You'll find keeps and monasteries, and then you keep
I never found those. Yeah, I never progressed to that part.
And 4, and here you will start to explore places like the Cursed Forest, a heavily wooded region.
Loot specific chests like Terraling chests, smithing chests, and they've improved the looting management and inventory management. So once you got a good base going, it's pretty easy to organize. Okay, hopefully that does enough, Wise Noob. I still don't know why they just didn't link the chests. Yeah, that's so weird.
Just northeast of Dunley Farmlands, this spot is full of witches,
it looks like they have the
spiders,
ability.
mosquitoes, and a fog that grows thicker and thicker the longer you're in it, until eventually you actually lose access to your map, your mini-map and your total map. You lose all navigation tools whatsoever. Eventually, there is some gear unlocks that you can get to negate.
Existential, buddy. Congratulations on your gifted sub. That is so kind of you, buddy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Michael, buddy, you're so kind. We love you, buddy. Thank you so much. That's huge.
This, but the very first few times you come across it, I mean, at least for me, I'll speak, it was really, really cool. It's a cool mechanic that they added into this one particular zone. You'll also start traveling to the Silverlight Hills, home of vrising's holy warriors, paladins, priests, sunbringers.
Oh, they look
all
cool.
Sorts of light-infused characters
Holy
and enemies
smokes.
for you to engage with. It's a mountainous region. It's also full of harpies, sacred mines, army outposts, and a massive town called Brighthaven, broken up into 4 quadrants and loaded with NPCs, enemies, vendors, and loot. This is like the main home of the humans in this world, basically.
Right.
They're all kind of centered around this town of Brighthaven, and that's also, like I said, where all of like the holy warriors, you got big old imposing paladins and dangerous priests and sunbringers and all sorts of like, light infused creatures that vampires don't really get along with so much. And then beyond that, as you move through Acts 3 and into Acts 4, you're going to start to go to the new regions of Gloomrot and the Rings of Mortium. So Gloomrot was added last year. This is like a steampunky area infused with lightning and pollution, a mechanical heavy zone. It looks pretty cool. It's full of enemies, super unique to that region, carrying flamethrowers and Tesla guns, piloting these massive like Victorian style machineries, some of which will actually track you with laser beams, which are quite deadly. The area is also home to many mutated abominations.
Oh, that's dope.
Pools as you walk by.
These guys look really cool.
Mortium is a desolate region and the seat of Dracula's estate. Here you will find, well, not much in terms of landscape, as the entire thing is kind of like a snowy ashland, but it is inhabited by the newest enemy faction added to the game, the Dracula.
Oh my god. Rach, another gifted sub. Way too kind. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys are way too kind to me. Thank you for the level of support, both of you. Michael and Rach, both of you guys, thank you. Everyone, please make sure you join the giveaway. We will be closing it in just like 10 seconds. Good luck, everyone. Thank you from the bottom.
These are Dracula's servants. They come with their very own blood type and
too
unique
sweet
look to them. It's also where the newly added Endgame world event takes place, which I'll touch on.
That's the Castlevania.
This is basically.
Oh man, I'm so excited.
You do the survival crafting stuff, right? But then you're fighting bosses up the chain, unlocking new things, progressing in power, which lets you push further into the world, explore the new zones, and then fight the new bosses, further progressing you in power as you work all the way up and up and up to move into Gloomrot, to move into the Ruins of Mortium, and to start to engage in the endgame systems as you work towards your way to fight.
And don't worry, if Space Babe is not in here, we'll make sure they get their winning tomorrow or whenever we next see them. Don't worry. I write the winners down.
the final boss, Dracula himself. And as is, like this portion of the game, even just playing with a friend or playing solo, I enjoy. I have found this core progression through the game quite enjoyable.
It was fun.
Like,
Yeah,
I love
it was
the
good
world
progression.
of Vrising. I like its theming.
It wasn't
and the
even
setting.
progression,
The
but now
combat is
they've
super
evened it out.
satisfying. So just playing the game to go through this progression, do the survival crafting stuff, spend some time fighting and taking on.
These barrels are pretty cool. I like this mechanic. I'm glad that they've really upped the game on a lot of these boss battles. That's really huge. Really huge. Not in here, can't even congratulate. Oh, that's okay. No worries. You had to go to sleep. She gave us the lovely raid earlier tonight, Michael. We love Space Babe. I've known her for a very long time. Well, not very long, but like she's a good friend. Absolutely.
On the challenging boss fights, all this PvE side of the game has been a blast. It's what I loved about the game when it first came out, and it's continued to be something that I enjoy, and there's just so much more of it here.
And they got
today.
more. That's good.
But then there's also like this whole other side to vrising, and that is a rather hardcore skill-based PvP.
Yeah.
So when you first boot up the game, you're given the choice of selecting what server you want to play on, and these come in different types, basically split in two between PvE focused and PvP focused. Now, should you choose a PvP server, by default, that experience is going to be everything that we just discussed, but then on top of that, it's got open world PvP. So while you're out exploring, doing survival crafting stuff, working towards those boss fights, there's going to be other players in the world, and you can fight them and kill them at any point. And if you kill another player...
Wise Noob says, the boss got a lot of love. There's also brutal mode where bosses get more HP and new movesets. Oh, okay. Hell yeah, Wise. Thank you, man. Hell yeah, dude.
Or if you die, that your stuff in your inventory can be looted. It's
Do you play other ARPGs, Wise Noob?
PvP. There's also a system of base rating. So you've got your castle that you build up, well, during certain times of day, or depending on the server, it might be unrestricted. Clans of vampires can attack each other's castle, and then if they successfully break into the castle, they can steal all of the stuff that they find inside. So for people who like PvP, adding this twist to the game's entire progression and exploration, I mean, it can easily double, triple, quadruple the amount of time and entertainment you get from the game. If PvP is something that you like, it is definitely the case that playing on a PvP server in vrising, there's going to be a lot to enjoy here. In addition, and I just I just enjoy just the PvE side of the game. So the PvP again adds like a whole.
Nice. No Rest for the Wicked is definitely on my list as well. My computer is broken, so I've not been able to play it since the early access came out. But I'm definitely looking forward to that. We covered a couple of videos. Wise Noob, I don't know if you like a lot of YouTube content, but I do post new YouTube video every single day, every single morning. And I covered No Rest for the Wicked twice, and extremely excited for that game. That game looks so good, and when I get a working PC for it, I will definitely be playing that one as well. I'm a huge fan of Souls. I'm a huge fan of RPGs. We play every single genre in this channel. Exactly, every single one. I should hopefully be getting it, the new computer this week, Rach. Sometime this week.
Another layer to it. There's also a ton of variable options. If what I just described of the PvP sounds too hardcore for you, there's a lot of space in between, because the game servers consist of all manner of variety and settings that you can choose from when you set one up. So yes, there's like PvE servers and then PvP. There's also duo PvP servers if you don't want to play against large clans, and they have toggles and sliders for literally everything. Like on the PvE,
I might end up doing the duo PvP because I don't think we'll be able to have a clan. I don't think there'll be enough people playing. And also like not going the duo PvP is what killed the server that I was on as well. Like basically one clan took over, everyone else left, and it was like me versus everyone because it was all one clan. And it just felt like shit. It just felt like shit after that. But like that first 2 weeks, man, it felt so good. Oh man, it was so fun where everyone was against each other. Dude, it was so dope. It was so dope.
There are different multipliers and options for changing how equipment works, the traders, the crafting systems, building.
That's a lot of customization.
The timers, the amount of resources that you get. You can basically make everything easier and more bountiful resources, or harder and more restricted, faster build times.
You can get rid of you can basically get rid of the grind, for example, and you just actually play just the PvP side of it, or PvE side of it. That's super cool. They're releasing new servers halfway through the reset cycle, so 3-month PvP weekend raid servers are having new servers released 1.5 months. Ah, huge. That's good to know.
Instantaneous build times or longer build times. Whenever a player sets up a server, they can just choose what they want, and there will be official servers as well as player run dedicated servers on top of that. And then specific to the PvP side, you can choose if it's going to be total PvP with full world and base rating, like full open world PvP and full base rating all the time, or you could do limited PvP where so maybe it's just the open world PvP but there's no base rating. You can also choose
I might do that. I don't know. I'm not sure.
when and how often both open PvP and castle raiding occur. You can change the number, stats, and timers of things. You can decide whether it is full loot or not. Like, you can play on a PvP server that isn't full loot. You can just do the PvP, but not risk losing your stuff and not risk having your base attacked. They've got those options there.
Wow.
And depending on what sort of
added a
PvE
lot.
or PvP experience you're looking for, you can probably find a server that fits for you. Now, I know that, at least personally, I tend to just like playing these games as like the default experience that the developer intends. So I will like play on an official server with an official baseline rule set. But I know a lot of people.
I'll probably start with that as well. I'll probably start with a full loot baseline PvP solo duo. Because that way, it won't, we won't be getting like hoarded by a giant clan of people.
These ability to tweak and do all this stuff, and it's really amazing that those options are here.
That's super
I did
cool.
mention that we've had some updates. There was a Gloomrod update, and then there's 1.0. Well, beyond adding those 2 new regions that I mentioned earlier, there was also a ton of improvements with both of these updates.
Huge.
So last year in 2023, when they released Gloomrod,
Right.
they brought about
It's
a
been a
world
while.
revamp, which brought expansions and improvements to a lot of the existing biomes.
I think OG early access started all the way back in like 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Started like a long time ago. Right? Am I right on that? I think it was 2022. I think it was like early, if I'm not mistaken, it was really early 2022.
And then it added that new region of Gloomrot that I mentioned is like that steampunky, Victorian, lightning infused. They also introduced weather hazards, such as areas that have these choking mist, deadly lightning storms, and gale winds. They added trading hubs, which was really cool. At these locations, scattered all around the zones, in every part of the game, in every zone, there are set locations where there are NPCs that you can trade with. You exchange coin that you...
Oh, that is huge. So this is a different form of progression. We can buy stuff as opposed to other things. I love this.
Collect to these NPC merchants, and they're going to sell resources, consumables, but the most valuable thing is they sell recipe books that are needed to learn some of the special higher tier versions of weapons and gear sets that come complete with set bonuses.
It's been cooking for a long time. That's good.
Different play styles. You want to be caster focused, you want to be melee focused, you want to be crit focused, you want to be speed focused, you want extra health. They're going to be sets as you move through the progression tier. You find these books, they drop. There's also ways to get them at crafting stations, but yes, they're then also sold from these trading hub NPCs. Gloomrot brought about building updates, allowing for the building of multi-level castles. You can go up many vertical stairs, essentially. It added 13 new bosses and 30 new basic enemy types. It also improved magic by introducing the new Storm Magic School, and it introduced 2 new weapons, the Great Sword and dual pistols, as well as legendaries, which are just better.
Great sword and dual pistols? Dude, I bet dual pistols are fucking disgustingly strong. I'll probably be going great sword. I like playing berserker characters. Wise noob, I don't know how many other types of games you played, like MMOs and stuff. I play a lot of MMOs, for example, and I'm always like the berserker warrior type. Just generally, dual pistols are fucking awesome, dude. They sound it, man. That sounds great.
Versions of the base weapons. Oh, I just gotta say, from my most recent play experience, Great Sword, it's a really awesome weapon. At least on the PvE side, I really enjoyed it. And then with 1.0, they've got another big round of updates. So like we said, they added that new zone, the Ruins of Mortium. That's where you find Dracula's Legion. There's that new enemy type, the Draculan, the vampire Dracula-themed creatures. They roam around that zone. You're also going to find them in parts of the world roaming around. And they added, as one of the enemy bosses, the legendary vampire hunter, Simon Belmont. Of Castlevania fame. He is an enemy that you as a vampire can fight in this game, which is really cool. They introduced new world events, which is specifically tied to the late and end game portion of the game.
I almost hope he's like the hardest boss in the game, or like way up there. I hope he's like literally one of the top hardest bosses, period. I really hope so. That'd be very thematic.
game. These conflict zones will pop up in Mortium, and they work on a
Okay.
timer. There's different tiers of difficulty, but you go there, you clear some enemies, and it basically opens up a boss fight at these shards. And then once you kill the boss, you get a ton of loot. You also get access to this exclusive resource, which is used to unlock passives in each one of the magic schools that provide some pretty massive, really cool buffs.
Oh,
And
that's
then also
huge.
that resource can be used at specific trading hubs in the new zone. Using that conflict zone resource can get some of those really the top tier end game items in the game. That's where you can buy the recipe books, the blueprints for those. They added cargo travelers. You will find caravans carrying
That's pretty
valuable
cool.
goods on major roads, just going throughout the game in every one of the zones.
These kinds of like more procedural type of deals that don't feel like, you know, it's procedural, where it's like it makes the world feel living. So they added merchants, they added the conflict zones, and they added the caravans. That adds a lot of life to the world. I love this. I love this. This is really, really cool.
You attack the caravan, you break it open, and then basically at that point you just get to pick up loot. Sometimes you'll see some enemies pop out of the caravan as well when you happen to break it down.
And for PvP, this also adds reasons for people to try to fight each other, essentially. If I'm running across some random guy taking on a caravan, I'm going to try to kill that guy and take the caravan from him. That's like the entire point.
Improve the magic system, making it more versatile than before, as you can now unlock spells in whatever order suits your playstyle, which is how I've described it thus
Melee,
far.
baby.
But prior to that, you unlock spells in a specific order. Now, with the spell point system, they basically let you choose what you unlock when. They also
really
added the
cool.
new weapons of bows and whips. They added new unique weapons and the ancestral upgrade system.
Bows and whips. Whip sounds pretty cool. Probably won't be going bows at all, but whips sound really cool.
For more powerful weapons. They introduced the new shape-shifting spider form that lets you bury underground to hide from enemies.
That's
new
cute.
tier of armor and equipment. They added castle relocation system for moving your plot, and this is massive.
Huge.
In the past, if you put a castle somewhere, it just stayed there unless you broke it apart and built a new one elsewhere. Well, with castle relocation, it lets you do this seamlessly instead of having to manually break down a whole base and then take all this.
That is gigantic. Because if you got like upset with your spot at some point, it felt like an absolute chore to try to move it. That's huge.
Resources and carry it over. You can just place down a relocation fountain, and then from there, it knows all of the stuff in your last base, and it'll let you move all of it over without actually having to manually carry all the resources back and forth. It is absolutely huge. They've added higher tier stations that provide massively increased crafting speeds, which is really great. And there has just been like a metric ton of UI and UX and just overall quality of life improvements to the game. So the bag system is way more streamlined and offers just straight up inventory space, which is a real nice change. You can unlock spell points, like we said, instead of spells coming in a particular order, letting you choose your playstyle now instead of being dictated it based on where you are in the progression chain. A lot of streamlining to the crafting. For example, you no longer need water to make potions. They kind of they streamlined stuff. They made it more simple. Storage as well is infinitely better. There are more specific storages for materials, alchemy, plants, etc. And instead of having to set up all of your individual chests and then just manually carry stuff over, you can place down a specific alchemy bookshelf and transfer everything in your inventory that's related to alchemy will automatically transfer into it. And same thing goes for every other category, things like materials and gear and tailoring.
That's not quite linked chest, but this is an improvement for sure. Now, I do wish they would just do linked chests, but if they're at least doing this, this is a step in the right direction for sure.
They did a really great job with inventory base management here. It's awesome. New stations craft way faster, tons of UI improvements across the board. They even added gamepad support, as the game will be coming to console later in the year, and a new achievement system on top of that. So yeah, as mentioned at the top, suffice it to say,
I know there's like a lot of weirdos who are like super against games coming to console, and they figure it dilutes the people or some bullshit like that. No, I want as many people to be able to play as many games as possible. I don't care if they're playing from the Switch, Xbox, PS5, PC. I want to play with as many people as possible. I think console exclusivity or exclusivity of any kind is like a fucking relic. I'm so glad. Because more people playing, the better. That means the game will live longer. That means more people will be enjoying the game. That means I can meet more new friends. It's just a W. I don't know why people are so salty about this nowadays. Oh my God. I'm so happy.
vrising has gotten a lot of really great updates already. As it was the core base early access version of the game from 2 years ago, I had a fun time playing, and now it's just that but a whole lot better. And I think the funniest part is that I've really not even dove at all into the PvP side of things. I did a little bit of PvP.
It was so
in the early
fun.
access launch.
It was so
in
good.
This preview of the 1.0 build that I've been playing over the past week and a half or so now. There was no PvP server available for the preview version that we had, so we were just playing on a PvE server, and even that.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, you're right about that, but that's only for shooters. Like the aim assist thing, that's only for like shooters. For people are salty about it for games like this. There's no shooting in this game. Yeah, it's so weird. Like I never really cared about it even in shooters, but like especially in non-shooter games. It's like there were people getting really, really upset about like a cooperative game of way back when what's it called? Helldivers 2 was first launching a few months ago. People that are Sony fanboys who were like, "Oh, it's not a PlayStation 5 exclusive." And it's like, dude, who cares, man? Do you want more people to help you kill bugs and robots or no? It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I'm so glad it's available
60 or 70
everywhere.
hours in the past week or so, and I like even just the PvE stuff I'm
Right.
enjoying. So the whole extra layer of PvP, adding just everything that PvP adds. So if you like the PvP stuff, that's a whole nother side of it. And once the 1.0 launch officially happens, I'm gonna jump in, hop on a new server, and I would like to try the PvP stuff. I might do the limited like solo or duo. It just depends really.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's the way to do
man.
it.
The game's really cool. Definitely the big check marks for me on the like side of thing are the combat. I mean, hands down. Like I said, Stunlock Studios, their prior games, I really liked them. Battle Right and Bloodline Champions.
I never played them.
Enjoyed both those games, and the combat was the shining star.
Yeah.
They were like arena combat focused games, and that can be a little sweaty for me, especially in my old age. But I still thoroughly enjoyed playing those as long as I didn't climb the ranks too high and start getting my butt whooped 90% of the time. But
my Udyr can ball with anyone. I'm so ready for this.
Playing those games was really fun. I mean, I even liked the Battle Royale that they put out. So yeah, I mean, the combat in Stunlock's games, to me, has always been top notch, and vrising carries that over, and frankly, in a lot of ways is better. And more appealing to me, at least, because I like it in this open world setting.
Exactly,
I like
essential.
It in the shared
True.
multiplayer space. I like it with the survival crafting stuff. Just so much about that in this world feels really good. Boss design is stellar. They've continued to add more and more interesting bosses. In particular, once you start to get to mid and late game, these boss fights, the mechanics they have, it's
I'm
super
excited.
fun, super interesting, really enjoyable, especially the first time through. And the game's progression, the item and gear progression, the base progression.
Even if I get through the entire game in like 30 hours, in terms of like, just not really focusing on like grinding or anything like that, just really just playing through all the bosses and stuff, if that single thing, just going from level 1 to full game, I don't know how long it'll take. I'm estimating 30. It could be longer, could be shorter. But if that is smooth and it feels good, I'm happy. That's all I really wanted out of this game. Now, everything else is just an added bonus. PvP, added bonus. Building, added bonus. All these things, added bonus. But if that is smooth, that's aces. That is all I want.
And I've really
That's worth the
liked it.
price
I also
of
want to
admission.
add one problem for me with a lot of survival crafting games is like non-stop grinding needed to even build the most basic base, but it's
God help me, so fucking true and real, Force Gaming. So true.
really, like, you can spend like 20 minutes of grinding resources in this game and make like a massive castle already.
Thank God.
So I think
Okay.
they're pretty liberal here. And with the server
That means it's just better. Because, dude, it would take like fucking 2 hours to make a basic base when I first started playing that. It was so brutal. The drop rates and everything. I'm so glad they streamlined that. Oh my God, that was so annoying.
options, you can tweak it so that it's even crazier. So you hit one tree and you get like 10 billion wood, and then you hit a rock and you get like 10 billion stone,
Right,
and then
yeah,
you're
yeah.
making a massive castle with like 5 minutes of grinding. So there's a lot of options as well with the tweaks and changes that you can adjust when you're setting up a server. When it comes to feedback, I mean, generally I like this game, but I would say that I think the end game for PvE players does seem pretty limited outside of grinding for legendary weapons. After you do that boss climb and you work your way up and you make your way to the last
I don't
boss
mind that.
and you're getting that
Every
last
game
tier
needs
of
an
gear and
ending.
weapons, well then that's basically it.
Yeah,
There's really not much
it's fine.
repeatable end game stuff to do after that. And I think even though if that's not what this game is trying to be, I think if they provided some sort of a, I guess we'll just call it infinite grind for the
Yeah, like a nightmare zone where things just get harder and harder, or like a boss rush mode, things like that. Those are things that anyone could add at any point in a game's life cycle. So I don't mind that it doesn't start with that. It'll take a while to get to endgame in this game for sure.
The PvE portion of the player base who would like to continue to do that. I think that could be a nice addition. Now, that said, this is a seasonal game. They do seasonal resets and server resets.
He said that UI was a big thing.
Stuff. It's just part of the experience with the game that they've built here. And then also I added PvP is clearly, if you like PvP, that is going to keep you coming back time and time again. But still, for the PvE side of things, for the people
showing off those MOBA skills, baby. Those hard fought over 15 years skills of League of Legends. There you go. The game is over 70 hours, so you can still play PvP events and so on. Which is huge for 20 years. Oh yeah, no, dude, foul man. Like I said, if I am able to just spend 30 hours going through the entire game and it feels smooth, I'm happy already. Everything else is feels like gravy. Yeah, I don't mind that. I actually think that like having too much stuff for like infinite gaming, it kind of detracts from the gameplay experience in some ways. I completely agree with that. And Foundman, welcome to stream. Welcome to Corey Crew, buddy. If you're excited for this game, we will be playing this game when my computer gets fixed. Extremely excited for it. I played 50 hours of the early access just way back in like the first couple of weeks the early access came out. Grinded this game super hard. Loved it. And now I'm very excited for the final release of 1.0. So welcome, Foundman. What other kind of games you like to play, watch, and enjoy? Tell us all of them. We like to play everything in this channel. We especially love RPGs, ARPGs, Soulsborns. This gives some of that feel. MOBAs, my favorite game is League of Legends, and an absolute boatload of survival games. Love survival games.
Might just want to go through once. I think something to do after you reach that final tier of weapons and gear. I mean, I guess what else is there to do, right? But because the combat's so enjoyable, but if people who don't like PvP, it would be cool if there was something that can kind of keep them going from that point forward. Like an infinite dungeon or something. Just throwing ideas out there. I don't know. But anyways, as it is, I really like vrising.
Great choices.
Again, this is a sponsored video, but really it was just about raising awareness for this 1.0 build. I have that video that I made of the early access build from 2 years ago with me just gushing about the game. And this is now 2 years later, and the game is just even that much better. So yeah, it was a no-brainer for me when Sunlock's like, hey, you want to cover vrising 1.0? I'm like, the game is sick. Yes, absolutely. And yes, I can now confirm after playing for the past weekend.
I've never been sponsored by any game ever, but I can say that would be like the best feeling for when you get sponsored. When you just truly love the game and you're just like, yeah, it's a fucking no-brainer. I'm down. That's a rare thing.
Or just don't even take my word for it. Go check out the Steam reviews. The game has been like overwhelmingly positive for as long as I can remember. People really like vrising. I am one of those people. Thank you for checking out the video as we take a look at the updated vrising 1.0
Super
launch.
Excited.
You can check it out. Links below if you want to learn more about the game. That's it for today.
Super excited. Please, please, please link treasure chests. Please. Please link chests, man. Please link chests. Oh, God. Because I always forget what I put where all the time. Update is free. The DLC, not so much, obviously. Yeah. We're going to check the price. We're going to check the price as well, because I think that's always important. I already have vrising. I didn't get any of the updates, but let's see how it is. There we go. vrising. $34.99 for a game like this. $34.99, or I guess $39 without the because it's probably on sale, right? No, there's $35. Base price is $35, bro. So yeah, this is really good. This is not bad at all. And one DLC is this is just relics. Are these items? Wait, where's the other stuff? Where's the Gloomrot and everything? Do I not need to buy it? It looks like these are just like cosmetics and stuff, right? Really nice job with early access. Listen to feedback. Oh, Gloomrot was free update. Oh, huge. So what is this DLC? Are these items or just looks? It looks like these are just looks. That's good. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, only cosmetics? Thank God. Holy smokes. Oh my God. Are you telling me that a game company actually did not make their game pay to win. Oh my god. Oh, that makes me so happy. Dude, I cover a lot of like shitty game practices, foul man. If you like YouTube, I will be putting this video on YouTube as well. And so it always pains me to see like DLCs being like, pay to win, day one, like quests put behind DLCs, things like that. That shit pisses me off so much. So seeing like ethical DLCs and stuff, oh man. Oh, feels so good. Sorry, I'm gushing. I'm gushing, but yeah, there we go. That's the entire thing. I hope you guys liked the video, the discussion. I'm extremely excited for vrising. We will be playing it in this channel. Something thing. Welcome back, buddy. We miss you. So great to have you back. And Foul Man, I do stream every single night, 51 months in a row. So if you enjoy the good vibes, if you're excited for vrising, if you like Soulsborne stuff, dude, we play a lot of the same games or game types. Drop a follow. And join our lovely, lovely Discord as well. We're on the road to 1,000 follows on YouTube. I do produce a video every single day. Thank you for the follow, Foul Man. Welcome to the Quarry Crew, dude. And I'm excited for this game, man. We will definitely play it very, very soon. I cannot play it tomorrow because I have to wait for my computer to get replaced before I play it. But that should be hopefully this week. And this will be very high on the list of the things we play. I am extremely excited.